Conservative new media viewers, LA Lakers fans around the world, and Jeremy Lin fans around the world, what is up? It is me, PFV, Paul F. Villarreal, the NBA expert, and this is the long video about preseason game number 7, in which the Los Angeles Lakers defeated the Portland Trail Blazers 94-86. With the victory, the Lakers improved to 3-4 on the preseason, and the Trailblazers fall to 3-3. Before I get going here, let me thank a couple of people. First, let me thank Gary Chen for the artwork you are looking at in this video, as well as the artwork you saw if you watched our short video from tonight or from the other night. Also, let me thank the person that does our translations, because they work really hard, and just want to make sure to thank them as much as I can. Also, I did not get to say this early in recent videos, so I want to say it early in this video. If you leave me a comment in these videos or on my Twitter, on our Twitter, the CNM J-Lin Vids Twitter, or even on my personal Twitter, which is PFV on the NBA, I will see it. Even if I don't get to respond to you. I get a lot of emails and tweets constantly, which is good. I like to interact with people. We're not particularly formal in our tweeting. I am a professional. I've been a media professional before, but that's not the format in which we interact with our Twitter users. Much more conversational, because we're dealing with many people who have English as a second language, people who are from all over the world, people who are just learning the NBA, and quite frankly, that's just not my style. There are certain people that don't like that, and I would tell you, if you don't like that, don't follow me. That's the easiest way to say it. I understand that sometimes I talk a little too much for certain people. That's okay. Once again, I would tell you, it's best not to follow me if that's going to be an issue for you. There are people who will send pictures, photos. I do a lot of retweeting because I want to engage those people. We're not an outlet where we seek to have a massive imbalance between people following us and people we follow, which is we want to look good, so we'll only follow 100 people and have thousands of people follow us. That's just not what we're about. That's not what we do. And again, if you're looking for that, I would encourage you, do not follow us. But as I said, that doesn't detract from our information, our expertise, and our professionalism. So I just wanted to clear that up, because there was something that came up in particular that I won't get into that was kind of along those lines. I will discuss Ronnie Price versus Jeremy Lin starting a little bit later in this video. There are a lot of Jeremy Lin fans that are concerned about this issue, and I understand that. I'm not as concerned about it, although I understand why people are concerned about it in terms of Jeremy Lin fans. So I will address that later on after I discuss this particular game. Okay, now I put up on Twitter that I was harsh on Jeremy in the short video that we made tonight. And I was a little bit harsh, a little bit disappointed, a little bit de-energized. Why was that? Because I want Jeremy to play at a certain way, a certain level. And I didn't see that completely tonight. Sometimes people will say to us, why are you so tough on Jeremy overall sometimes? Why are you so focused on him in a negative way? Because these videos are looking at him and looking at his team through his eyes. So I'm most focused on him. And that's going to be positive and negative. So when I see things I don't like, I'm still more focused on him than I might be on other people on the team. Now, what I learned between making the short video and the long video, and thanks to Elaine Gervais for this, and I hope I said your name correctly, Jeremy was tired tonight. He was fatigued, which makes sense. The team was playing on a back-to-back. This was the second of 2 consecutive nights of games. And Jeremy's been out about 10 days not doing conditioning. When you're tired, your form breaks down in whatever you're doing. If you watch a runner who's coming close to the end of a race, you'll see they'll start losing their mechanics and this type of a thing. And a basketball player, you start making mistakes you would not normally make. I think the old saying is fatigue makes cowards of us all. Jeremy looked lackadaisical tonight. He looked careless. And I didn't like that. But now I understand that was because of the fatigue. That's what it appears to be. So that definitely changes my outlook on how things went tonight. Now, to be fair to Jeremy, he had a good game in all respects except his turnovers. And that's why I was getting a little bit disappointed, I guess the way is to say it. But it's a preseason game. The team won. Overall, he played well. He had the second most points scored on the team. So, again, there will be times where I overdo it in my criticism of him, but it's not because I am a hater, obviously. It's because I like him and because I know what he's capable of doing, and I want to see him be able to play that way. There's also another reason why I was a little bit perturbed or upset by this game, and I'll get to that in a second. This also goes to why Byron Scott might not be starting Jeremy, because his conditioning's not there. He's not ready for this, perhaps. That might be what's going on. He hasn't had a chance to practice with the team yet since he returned from the ankle injuries. He has 2 sprained ankles, particularly the left ankle. He hasn't had one scrimmage or practice with the team yet, I don't think. He came back and he went right into game action 2 nights in a row. Ronnie Price has been practicing with the first team, and Jeremy hasn't. And earlier in training camp, Jeremy has been practicing with the second unit because Steve Nash was around. So in other words, Jeremy's built up a certain chemistry with the second unit, particularly Ed Davis. And that might be, along with the conditioning issue, part of where Coach Scott is coming from. I said this in the short video, and I want to thank, I do not remember the person's name, and I'm sorry about this if you watch the video. Their initials are AO on Twitter. He notified me, as well as Ido Amir, that Magic Johnson had tweeted out during this game that Jeremy Lin was going to make a very good Lakers starting point guard. In other words, Magic supporting Jeremy Lin. Which, to have somebody of Magic's stature come out and say that, and Magic is clearly very good friends with Byron Scott, that kind of gives you a little insight into what the thinking probably is going on. And that, calm down. Now, if Magic's saying that, there's probably a reason why he's saying that. That would be my overview of the situation. So, look, let's let Jeremy get healthy. Let's let him get his wind back a little bit, get his legs back a little bit, and this type of thing. Now, well, let me talk more about the team before I go into the other thing that concerned me with Jeremy tonight, or bothered me is probably the better way to say it. Overall, the team looked good. This is the 3rd consecutive outing, and I'm including the second half of the second Utah game. This is the 3rd consecutive outing in which the team looked like a unit. They looked cohesive. They looked legitimate. There were a lot of people. There was somebody who wrote an article, and I understand why he wrote it a few days ago, basically saying the Lakers were the worst team in the NBA, except for the Philadelphia 76ers. The last 10 quarters, they don't look like that. They look like a real, legitimate NBA team that can compete with other teams. Are they an elite team? No. But they look like a real team that has a chance to do something this season. And that's excellent, particularly with Kobe sitting out this game, along with Steve Nash, Ryan Kelly, Xavier Henry, and Nick Young. Those are 5 very important elements of the team. Or, I mean, you might disinclude Ryan Kelly, although I think Ryan Kelly can play. And, but you got 4 guys there who clearly can contribute to this team. The team looks deep, and the rookies looked really good tonight. Jordan Clarkson coming off of the calf strain. What it looked like watching Jordan tonight, now he wasn't perfect, is that he's learning. He's been watching a lot, watching film, watching the team while he's been injured. And sometimes that can be one of the best things to happen to a player, is when you sit out, you learn more. Rather than things are going 100 miles an hour, you can kind of see it from a distance. And Jordan looked good tonight. His decision-making was better. He was a little more restrained, and it was great to see. The team's belief in itself is growing. Now, they were playing a Portland team that only was starting one of its core players, and Damian Lillard. The other 4 starters did not play, so that should be said. But Portland came, they had good energy, they were trying hard, they were into this game. And Portland's a legitimate team, although they're not the deepest team in the world. They brought it tonight. They tried. And the Lakers held them off fairly easily. And that's really good to see. That is really good to see. Portland, I would say, if things work out right for Portland, I would put them between 3rd and 5th in the West this year. 3rd might be a little too high, but I think they're capable of that depending on how they perform this season. They were coming off a back-to-back last night, as were the Lakers. The one individual who looked best to me was Julius Randle. Yes, he's still working on some decision-making. He looked great tonight. 17 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist, and only 1 turnover. I know particularly a lot of Jeremy Lin fans aren't thrilled with Julius getting the defensive rebound and bringing the ball up. They'd like to see him hand it off to Jeremy Lin, and I think he had 1 or 2 mistakes like that tonight. But he's improving quickly. He's showing you what he's capable of. He's hitting jump shots. He's doing bank shots off of nice individual moves. He's hitting catch-and-shoot jump shots from Jeremy Lin. This looks like a player who's a lottery pick. This looks like a guy who was drafted number 7 overall. He looked great. Remember, this is a 19-year-old. The biggest knock on Julius Randle, from what I remember, yes, he's not in condition. And look, he's taken a lot of criticism early in this preseason, and I think he's handled it pretty well. He's improving. Biggest criticism of Julius Randle from a physical standpoint, what I understand, is he doesn't have great length. And what I mean by that is his arms aren't particularly long for his height. So some people think, well, we're not sure if he's going to be able to play power forward because he's little bit small, little bit not the wingspan that we'd like to see. The thing that's great about Julius is he's got a big frame, and he knows what to do with it. He understands how to use his body to get separation off defenders. And he does have some of the skills necessary to play small forward if he wants to. He can shoot a jump shot. He can handle the ball. The only 19-year-olds that I can think of in professional basketball history, not just the NBA, including the ABA, which was a league that competed with the NBA back in the 1970s, I believe, and, well, went defunct in the 1970s, are Moses Malone and LeBron James. Both of those two were very good at 19 years old, if I remember correctly. So this is an extremely young man, very young, and you can see what's there. And yeah, he's trying to do a little too much. Maybe there's work to be done on the basketball IQ, and you hope that that can improve. He can play, and he's got a high motor. He's got a lot of energy. This guy, I think he's going to be a real player. I think he's going to be a very serious player, and that could happen relatively quickly. And this was an exciting night for him tonight. He's going to make a lot of mistakes. So is Jordan Clarkson. It's just what rookies do. That's the way it goes. But I really was pleased with the way that he played tonight. He showed you he can dominate when he gets into a groove. And so you've got several players on this team who have shown already this preseason they can dominate at times. Obviously, Kobe, we saw Linsanity last night, and now we're seeing it from Julius Randle. If those guys can get into sync, again, this team could do something this year. They really could. And so I was very encouraged by this game. I was also encouraged by the play of Ronnie Price. 8 points, 1 rebound, 3 assists. Now, again, we are Jeremy Lin fans, and we understand that much of our audience are Jeremy Lin fans. And there are a number of people among that group that really don't want to hear me say a bunch of good things about Ronnie Price. And if you're a Lakers fan and you haven't followed our stuff before, this happened last year in Houston with Patrick Beverley. People would criticize me for praising Patrick Beverley. Look, I'm just going to call it like it is. I like the way Ronnie Price played tonight. There was a stretch in the second quarter or third quarter where he got a little bit lackadaisical and bundled up a few turnovers himself, but he was sharp early. That's good because the team needs him, particularly if Steve Nash is not going to play a lot this year. Jeremy can't play 48 minutes, regardless of whether he starts or not. So I was very encouraged by how Ronnie Price is playing. He's showing spark. He's showing grit. And that's really good. This is a career journeyman. He's never been a really significant player in my research and looking at the stats. So if he can emerge, if he can become that would really help this team greatly. So I was very pleased by that, regardless of what it might mean in terms of Coach Scott's thinking about who's the starter and this type of thing. Once again, we saw very solid play from Ed Davis. 4 block shots. I just so happy to see this guy playing, and he's a quick jumper. He has excellent timing. He has a good nose for blocking shots. He just can read it and see it. And this team desperately needs that, and he is providing it. Of course, he and Jeremy are in great synchronization with one another. We had another pick and roll play. Jeremy Lin throws the lob up to Ed Davis for a dunk. It's just becoming routine over and over again. You're going to see this happening time and again this season, and it's going to be awesome every time that we see it. Roscoe Smith played well. Roscoe Smith is fighting for a roster spot. Do I think he's going to make the team? Probably not. But he played like he wanted a spot tonight, and that was good to see. That's what training camp and preseason is all about. Guys are fighting for spots, and Jeremy Lin fans know all about that because of Jeremy's journey to be able to get his own spot. So Wesley Johnson was also solid. 11 points. He only shot 4 of 10, but he he bounced back from yesterday when he missed the crucial free throws that could have won the game and the 8 turnovers. Wesley actually reminds me a lot of Jeremy in terms of their mentality. Wesley is a guy that I think can lose confidence at times. And Jeremy is similar in that respect, in my opinion. But he's a guy with a lot of ability. So if you can get him on track mentally, he can do a lot. And he had a great play during this game. He and Ronnie Price, I believe Ronnie Price got the steal. It was a 3-on-1 break in transition. Ronnie Price went behind his back on the right side, threw a nice pass to Wesley Johnson for a 2-handed dunk. That was terrific. Wesley Johnson has gotten a lot of criticism. He was a high pick. He's been considered a bust. He's extremely athletic. He's capable of being a good defender. He's not incredibly offensively skilled, but he's a guy that can do little things. He can be around the ball and just kind of get baskets from getting rebounds and being athletic and getting out on the break. So he's a useful player. They just need to keep his mind focused. And again, it's not the same as Jeremy, but it's a similar thing, in my opinion, focus and confidence. So that's what I saw in this game. I loved it. Thought it was great. Now, let me say quickly, for the Blazers, they were led by C.J. McCollum's 17 points off the bench. CaCHooKaMan, who of course is a former Laker from last year, 12 points and 3 assists. Allen Crabbe, the shooting guard, 11 points, 6 boards. Thomas Robinson, the power forward, who many of us know from Houston, 9 points, 7 rebounds. Okay, let me see if there's any other stats that jump out at me very quickly here. Okay, the Lakers had 20 assists and 18 turnovers. It's good that they had more assists and turnovers, but you would like that ratio to be more along the lines of 2-1, 20-10, 20-12, something like that. Few too many turnovers. Lakers did shoot the ball well from the field, 50%, 3 of 11 from three-pointers, so they're not shooting a ton of three-pointers, but a couple more. At least we're shooting more than 5 three-pointers in a game, which probably is not going to get it done in a modern NBA. 75% free throws, nothing wrong with that as a team. That's a solid number. And they were beaten in fast break points by 12, but again, they played well, so not particularly concerning there. Now, turning more to Jeremy and what I didn't like here. I did not like the way that C.J. McCollum was going at him. He was being very aggressive with Jeremy on offense and defense. This is where I would like to see Jeremy get more physical on defense, which is what Kobe was talking about and what Jeremy himself was talking about. And I think that this can tie in with his confidence. If you got a guy who's coming at you, now you don't want to be stupid about it. You can't get into one-on-one battles. That's folly. That's a mistake. And Jeremy's smarter than that. He'll never do that, which is good. And Jeremy did not want to foul out as he did yesterday, so he was cautious about that. If you are the size of Jeremy Lin, which is about a legitimate 6'2", 6'2.5", and his bare feet, 190, 195, 200 pounds, you're a point guard, and you get somebody getting on you, whatever, you get up into them. What I mean by get up into them is you let them know that you're there. You body check them. You get on them. Make them aware of you. Take a little bit of their swag away. Anybody that's played on the playground, you know what I'm talking about. You can't be stupid. You can't be dirty. Get a little get back. Get some respect. Now you have to do it within the flow of the game. Again, you do not want to make it a one-on-one battle because that disrupts the team. But when CJ McCollum's out there and he's waving his hands at Jeremy, when he's on defense, when McCollum's on defense, and he's trying to attack Jeremy when Jeremy's on defense, I see Jeremy get up on him. And one of the times he did do that, he almost stole the ball from McCollum, and then it resulted in that broken play where Portland got a dunk. Jeremy is still not comfortable, in my opinion, being an aggressive defender. And that's part of what Kobe was talking about what he wants from Jeremy as a defender. What did Kobe say? He said Jeremy's got the size and the strength and the length, which is what I was saying. 6'2", 195 pounds. Jeremy's a strong guy, particularly strong in the upper body, but also the lower body as well. I mean, he's got thick, strong legs. Again, this isn't MMA or UFC. We don't want full contact here, but get up into a guy. Knock him down when he's going by you. You have to be careful. You can't do this as much in the NBA as you used to. Take the guy out of his stride a little bit. I thought Jeremy did this a little bit to Isaiah Thomas yesterday, and that was good. Now, as Jeremy himself mentioned after the game, referees aren't letting him do it because they're not used to seeing him play that way. The way that it works is the referees, like anybody else, they get used to whatever they witness. So certain teams or certain individuals will get away with much more physical defense than other teams and other individuals. Someone said, is it like Patrick Beverley? Yeah, kind of. It is. Indiana Pacers, they play a very physical defense. They are allowed to touch and bump and go vertical more than other teams are because that's how they always play. What coaches will say is everybody foul, or you all get physical. All 5 guys get physical on defense. Why? Because the referees can't call all the fouls. And that's how you condition the referees. If they're used to seeing you do it, they can't call 5 fouls at once. This is what Jeremy needs to do. I want him to get aggressive. The way CJ McCollum was there waving the hands, that's what Jeremy needs to do. There's still a lot of people in this league that look at Jeremy like he's a chump. Now, to be fair to Jeremy, it's not his fault that this happens. And he's gone through this his whole basketball career. But what Kobe's telling him, and I support this, fight back. And Jeremy Lin fans talk about this all the time. He's got to speak up. He's got to fight back. He's got to have more swag. I'm agreeing with you here. You be the aggressor on defense. You can tell. You can be aggressive on defense. You can in some ways dictate what the offensive player is doing, even though he's got the ball. Wave your hands. Jab at him. Put your hand out in front of his face. Do stuff like this. Jeremy doesn't seem to have that particular nature all the time, at least not on defense. And I'd like to see him do it more. And that's what Kobe's saying to him. Kobe's basically saying is, you're 200 pounds and Isaiah Thomas is 175 pounds. Put a body on him. Smash mouth basketball, which is what Kobe was talking about playing this year. Get into him. Get into people because you're bigger and stronger than them. So Jeremy needs to get that into his head. The more that he does that, the more aggressive he's going to be overall, the more confident. One thing I loved that Jeremy did in this game was he did that step back jumper one-on-one move against Damian Lillard and just lost Damian Lillard. Now Jeremy missed the shot, but that's what we want to see. Now again, you can't do it every single play, and that's not Jeremy's game, but we want it to become more of his game. Don't back down from people. Go at them. That's why I'm really happy Jeremy's playing with Kobe, because that's the way Kobe is. And so he will learn more of that, and Kobe will tell him that. So that's good. Now, let's not make too much of this. As I mentioned earlier, Jeremy was tired tonight. And to be fair to him, he blew by C.J. McCollum for a left-handed layup at some point when McCollum was trying to go at him. So Jeremy got get back. He got some for him. So I'm not saying he didn't do any of it. I just want him to do more of it. Do not let these guys punk you out. They want to challenge you, you get at them. And I will give a lot of credit to Patrick Beverley, because he is like that. Now, sometimes he takes it a little bit too far. But having that edge, that competitiveness, that little chip on your shoulder, you need that sometimes. And particularly somebody like Jeremy, who unfortunately is targeted at times by players in the league for various reasons. Jealousy, they don't think he's good because of who he is, this type of stuff. He's the Harvard kid. He's the kid of Asian heritage. He's not really good. So everybody wants to take a shot at him. Well, fight back. Fight back. Again, these are minor points. Jeremy played well tonight, except for the turnovers. He did a solid job on defense. He had a great block against, it was either Lillard or McCollum, that led to Jeremy coming down and passing the ball to Julius Randle for a jump shot. So again, it's not that he didn't do anything. We just want him to press the advantage. I'm tired of seeing these guys thinking that when Jeremy Lin shows up, they can go off. No. Get on them. Make them think twice about it. And he's getting better at it, and I think he'll get even better at it. Again, he showed signs tonight. He went for that steal, McCollum, and just about had it. When that happens again, jump on the floor. Dive for the ball. Be aggressive. Don't wait. Initiate. So everybody that's ever wanted me to be more prodding of Jeremy to do this, I agree with you tonight. I want him to do it. He was very aggressive on offense tonight. Sometimes too aggressive. Now let's do that on defense. He's capable of doing it, which is exactly what Kobe Bryant said and what Kobe said correctly. He does need to condition the referees, and he needs to do it consistently. That's what frustrated me the most. This is why I was not happy in the short video. I want Jeremy to be consistent. And tonight was a little dip. So if the people who are out there saying they want Ronnie Price to start, this gives them fuel. And I don't like that. That's why I'm mad. Because I like Jeremy. Not because I dislike him. Because I like him. But he did have 10 days off with no conditioning. He played great last night. And it's a back-to-back. You will get this. And Byron Scott knows this. And the coaching staff knows this. Magic Johnson knows this. So let's just stay calm. But I'm going to push Jeremy. Because I believe in him. Because I know what he can do. Same way that Kobe's going to push him. And that's a good thing. We talked the 2 years in Houston, particularly last year, I would say the competition between Patrick Beverley and Jeremy is good. Not bad. It's good. Jeremy needs to be more competitive on the basketball court. And he's mentioned this, and he said he learned to be more competitive from Houston and from Patrick. That's good. Because there's a lot of guys out there in the league don't care about anything. They're going to get theirs. So if you have a guy like that going at you, you need to slow him down and make him think about it. Make him think twice about thinking you're the fall guy. You're the piñata for them. That's what I want to see Jeremy do. And he will do it. He will do it. I'm sure he will get better and better at that. Okay, overall, my optimism is growing once again. Is it at the level that it was before the start of the preseason? maybe not quite there, but it's getting pretty close. It's getting pretty close because I really liked the way that Kobe looked yesterday. Really liked it. He looked better than I thought he was going to look. And one thing that's great about Kobe, he doesn't quit on himself. He started the game yesterday badly. He looked bad. 1 for 7 shooting, some turnovers. He didn't look good. But then he came out at halftime, bang, 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 bang. Before you know it, he's shooting 50%. He's got 27 points. Kobe looked great. The only missing factors now are Steve Nash and Xavier Henry. Like I said yesterday, I really hope Xavier is not done for the year. There's been some rumbles about that. I don't know if they're legitimate. I really hope his knee will come around. He could add a lot to this team with his explosiveness. A lot. And we'll see. He's going to get treatment on the knee, and we'll see what happens. Steve Nash, same thing. You'd much rather have Steve Nash to play than not play. Again, even if you do think he's too old, his minutes should go to Jeremy and Ronnie Price, Steve can shoot the ball better than almost anybody. So if you just put him out there for 10, 15 minutes and just let him spot up, he's going to hit shots. And he'll almost never miss his free throws. So that my optimism was built upon the full squad. And now it's looking a little, that might not quite happen. However, the rookies are getting better. So if they are able to meaningfully contribute, then that changes things for the better. So I like where this team is. I mean, we've been on a roller coaster. A week ago, they looked like a joke. Now they look like, hey, this isn't bad. So I'm definitely on the upswing with the positivity and with the confidence. I'm definitely feeling better about this team, and I can't wait for the start of the regular season, even though we've got one more preseason game, of course, before the regular season will begin. Now, speaking of that upcoming game, that game will take place on Friday, October 24th here in the United States. It will be at 10 p.m. Eastern Time on the East Coast, 7 p.m. Pacific Time, and it will take place at 10 a.m. on Saturday, October 25th in the Philippines, in Taiwan, and in China. I do not know if it's on TV, although I'm looking at something right now and I do not see it listed as being on TV, so it might be another Time Warner Cable Sportsnet broadcast / International League Pass, although I was informed tonight by 2 people, and I'm sorry because I'm forgetting who you are right now. One of them is B. I don't remember your name, I'm sorry. Apparently some of the preseason games are on cable television in New York City, which I didn't know that. They're not available for many other people that have League Pass, but I guess they are available there, so keep your eyes out for that. Just looking over my game notes here, if there's anything else in particular that I'd just like to mention. Like I said, I like the way I would like to see Jeremy attack on defense a little bit more like Ronnie Price does. Now you can't be foolish. If you dive for steals, you can be out of the play, and then your man's wide open. But just keep working on it. He worked hard on it this summer. He's put a lot of work in. We don't want to do too much too quick. As I've said before, Jeremy is not a finished product. He is still developing. It's going to take time still, so you can't do everything all at once. Just keep working on it. And a lot of it is mentality. Be aggressive. Don't be angry, but be aggressive. Jeremy's worked hard to get the anger out of his game. He's not playing to shut haters up. He's not listening to what everybody's saying. Good. That's good. that contributed to his kind of mental paralysis, I think, in the past, and he's discussed this. Just be competitive. Work to kind of turn the dial up in a way that's productive. And it takes time to figure out how to do that. I mean, it's easy to say it, but how do you do it? And I can't tell Jeremy how to do it because I'm not in his head. So he's going to have to work at it, listen to Kobe, listen to the coaches, talk with Ronnie Price, and figure out how to do it. And like everything else we've seen him work on, I'm sure he'll improve upon it. Let's talk about the turnovers quickly. I mentioned this on Twitter. One of the turnovers I don't think was Jeremy's fault, and he shouldn't have been credited with the turnover. There was a handoff pass. Ed Davis handed the ball to Jeremy, and then it was stolen. In my opinion, that turnover should have been charged to Ed Davis. The way it works in the NBA is that usually if there is a play like that, if a person passes the ball and it is intercepted, the player passing the ball is charged with the turnover. Obviously, the scorekeeper either made a mistake there or they just chose to credit Jeremy with the turnover instead. So I didn't think that was legit. One turnover was on a travel, and Jeremy was going to make a move, and he was called for a travel. If you listen to the Time Warner Cable broadcast of that, they said that it is a point of emphasis to make that call this preseason. What that means is that the referees have been told by the league, we want you to focus more on calling that play, make that foul, make that call. So in maybe in another year that call isn't made, but Jeremy will have to adjust to it. He will. Fine. So that's 2 of the turnovers of the 6. One turnover was, I think, in the 4th. I didn't see it. I guess Jeremy went down into the lane and he didn't have anyone to pass to, and apparently he passed it. I heard it. I did not see it, so I can't comment on that. 2 of the turnovers were, and this has happened before in this preseason. This is what I want to talk about a little bit more. 2 of the turnovers were Jeremy making a pass to a man kind of posting up near the free throw line. One of them I know was to Carlos Boozer, which those 2, it happened in another game, almost the exact same way. And then there was another one to, I don't remember who it was. Maybe it was to Wesley Johnson, or I'm not sure. Jeremy in those situations needs to work on the communication with your teammate. So some of that's just the teammates don't know. They're just not on the same page. They haven't spent enough time working with each other. Remember, Carlos Boozer's on the first team in practice, or he has been, and Jeremy's been on the second team. So that's going to happen. But for Jeremy, don't rush the pass. One of the things that bothered me overall tonight with Jeremy was he seemed jittery. Jeremy will have moments where, again, maybe the confidence is down or he's a little tired, where he gets a little too casual when he's playing. This is kind of the thing that I believe Mikhail was talking about in the 29 points, 9 turnovers comment. And with most jokes or caricatures, there's usually some truth in it. And again, to be fair and honest, there is a little truth to that. Jeremy has worked extremely hard to cut down on his turnovers and to be more efficient, and it's paid off. Just tonight, a little bit of a relapse, probably because of the fatigue and because the game wasn't that competitive. For it was kind of, both teams are almost playing like street ball for a while. Jeremy is at his best when the game's meaningful and close. So if it's not like that, he can lose his focus. And I'm sure it's even easier to do that when you're really tired and you haven't had any conditioning in quite a while. So, again, I don't want to harp on it. I don't want to go crazy, but take your time. I think some of Jeremy's issues he thinks a little too much, and he gets a little too anxious, a little too casual. So just a little slower, go a little bit slower, and those turnovers can be prevented most of the time. Okay, that's about it. Look, again, Lakers win. Jeremy, solid game, good game, except for the turnovers. Nobody got hurt, which is probably the best news of the night, at least not that I'm aware of. So we will take it. Team gets to have a day off tomorrow. I would imagine they'll be practicing, although I don't know that. But at least they're not playing, so get a little rest for the legs. Jeremy can get a little bit more conditioning work or get a little rest if that's what he needs. Excellent. That is about it. So, thumbs up, thumbs down, your comments below. We encourage you to come and join the Conservative Media Facebook group. Has over 3,500 members and growing all the time. We also encourage you to come and follow us on our CNM J-Lin Vids Twitter account, as well as my personal account if you'd like, which is kind of a backup account. You'll find information for all of those things in the video description below the video player. You'll also find information for video highlights about this game. Once again, I am Paul Villarreal, PFV, the NBA expert. Thanks a lot for watching Conservative New Media. We strive to be the #1 Jeremy Lin YouTube fan channel. We got to win. We won. That's it. Let me talk about, I almost forgot this. Let's talk about Ronnie Price versus Jeremy as starters. And unfortunately, a lot of people are going to miss this because I did the kind of wind down there, and that's kind of a signal that the video's about over, but we'll discuss it anyway. Look, based upon all available evidence in terms of statistics, Jeremy's a better player than Ronnie Price is as an overall player. He has more potential. Ronnie Price is 31. You don't expect him to significantly improve now. He's more of like kind of what he is. Jeremy's still learning and growing. In looking at the advanced statistical data, Jeremy's clearly better. Now, there are some points of data where Ronnie is a slightly better defender than Jeremy is. And so if you want to focus on defense, okay, you can see it. You can make a case there. It might come down more to who Byron Scott's seen practicing with whom. It might come down to if Steve Nash is not around, you need a playmaker with the second unit. And unfortunately, I know people don't want to hear this, but like Patrick Beverley, that's not what Ronnie Price does. So we get into the whole quote-unquote fit argument. Look, I'm not the coach. I can't make the decisions. I'm not going to scream about it or whatever because it's not going to do anything. That doesn't mean we don't express ourselves. The Lakers listen. They will hear feedback. I hope Jeremy starts. He deserves to start in terms of his quality as a player. I have nothing against Ronnie. I like Ronnie. I hope Ronnie does well because the team needs him. If I were Byron Scott, I would start Jeremy Lin, or I would start him when I thought he was healthy and had some practice reps with the first team. As I've said before, and I'll say on Twitter, I understand. I don't want Houston to look like they were proven correct in not starting Jeremy. I don't want Jeremy to get the tag as a bench player. I don't want him to look bad for the NBA fans. I don't want him to get hurt in his contract. I don't want any of that stuff. I'd like to see him start and be named the unquestioned starter and be named as the guy who's going to finish games. I would love that if that happened tomorrow. But if it doesn't happen, I'm not going to trip out. I'm not going to freak out. And Jeremy's at a point, of course Jeremy wants to start. And yes, he doesn't want a journeyman to start ahead of him. Yes, let's be honest here. I'm sure that's quite accurate. But Jeremy's come to a point, and he's worked hard to get there, where it's not as important to him. I think he does have the template in his head of Manu Ginobili. Hey, doesn't matter if I start. I can still be a significant force. And everybody respects Manu Ginobili. And nobody doesn't respect him or thinks he's just some bench guy. Well, and is it true that he used to start? Yeah. So it is different. But if you're Jeremy, you can't control it. You can't control it. So if you can't control it, don't waste emotional energy on it. That doesn't mean we're fans. It's different. We can waste as much energy as we want. I'm still just willing to let things play out, particularly based upon what Magic Johnson said. Again, Magic is very close with Byron Scott. There's a reason why Magic and Kareem came to Byron Scott's introductory press conference. These are old teammates. These are old friends. Magic's talking about Jeremy starting, then I think that's a pretty good sign. That's not a guarantee, but it's a good sign. And, of course, Kobe's going to have his say. We know Kobe respects Jeremy Lin. We know Kobe said after yesterday's game that Jeremy makes a huge difference and that Jeremy is another playmaker, meaning another with him. And again, that can be a fit thing. If Kobe's a playmaker with one unit, then you might need a playmaker with the other unit too. I don't know. I will tell you guys one thing though, and this is something we have discussed. This team, when the time comes, is Kobe's team. And we saw that in last night's game. Jeremy was on a roll when Kobe came back into the game in the third quarter, whatever it was, fourth quarter. And then Kobe took over. So Kobe's going to do that. And you need to know that because that's the way that he is. It's not that's just Kobe has a mentality that he has to eat first. So even if you're doing well, he's going to get his. Look, it worked great last night. And we had Lin sanity and Kobe sanity. But there's probably going to be times where Jeremy's in a good groove or Lin sanity or whatever, and Kobe's going to start doing Kobe ball. And you got to look at that last night. I'm not mad about it because it worked. And look, Kobe was great and Kobe's Kobe. But that's going to happen. And last night was Exhibit A. So, and that's the way it's going to go. Nobody can say anything about that because it's Kobe's team until he retires. That's the way it's going to be. All these articles going out and everybody talking about Kobe. The thrust of it is Kobe's in charge. And when it comes to the court, he is in charge. As long as he's a Laker and he's on the court, he's going to do what he wants to do, and nobody else is going to have too much sway to change that. Now, again, Kobe's not going to play forever, but just, it's not Harden. Harden, in my opinion, there are other issues there. It's just, Kobe believes in himself, and he's going to do it. So we just have to adjust to that a little bit. So I would tell you to keep that in mind. Again, I know that. I knew it was going to happen. So it's not a surprise to me, but it is the way that it will be at certain times. Jeremy didn't care. Jeremy loved it. Jeremy was talking after the game. He's like, yeah, it was all Kobe down the stretch, and he liked it. So it's It's not a big deal. Jeremy's not worried about it. Okay, that is it for now. It is 2:03 a.m. here on the East Coast of the United States on Thursday, October 23rd, which means it's 11:03 p.m. on Wednesday, October 22nd. And it is 2:03 p.m. on Thursday, October 23rd in the Philippines, in Taiwan, and in China. Hope you guys enjoyed the game as much as I did. It did infuriate me at little times with everything I said about Jeremy, but it was good. It was good to watch a team win and win fairly easily. They need the confidence. They need to build a team camaraderie. The rookies need to develop. And frankly, Jeremy needs to practice work to get himself back into shape. So if he's going to have 6 turnovers, I'm glad he had 6 turnovers in a meaningless game. Good. Hopefully he'll feel better, get some rest, and we'll see an even fresher, healthier Jeremy Lin coming up on Friday against the Sacramento Kings. That is it for now. Hope you have a great night or great day wherever you are around the world when you watch this video. Take care. We will talk to you again soon.